Mrs. Yasuda witnessed her neighbor, Mrs. Rika, having an affair, and as a result, she became the target of Rika's vicious retaliation. Rika, along with her accomplices, stormed into Yasuda's home. After a brutal beating, they even took compromising photos of her. Rika then warned Yasuda that if she ever spoke of what she had seen, her underage daughter would be the next to suffer. In the days that followed, Yasuda was constantly threatened by Rika's lover. She lived in perpetual fear, and over time, her temperament became irritable and unsettled. What should have been a happy family turned into a chaotic mess. However, the malicious Rika was not content to stop there. She spread vile rumors among the neighbors about Yasuda's supposed infidelity. Yasuda dared not refute these claims, and could only endure the slander in silence. Not only that, but Yasuda's daughter, Aiko, was also bullied at school, and the perpetrator was none other than Rika's daughter. To add to the coincidence, Yasuda's husband's boss happened to be Rika's husband, leading to daily reprimands at work. Yasuda wanted to confide in her husband about the ordeal, but his agitated mood prevented her from doing so. He then warned her not to offend Rika, or he would face the risk of being laid off. Yasuda dared not speak of the matter to anyone else. For the sake of her family, she could only endure the torment in silence. But even so, Rika still would not let her be. She often sent people to harass Yasuda, with men standing at her doorstep hurling insults. This led the surrounding neighbors to believe that Yasuda was a woman of ill repute. Eventually, the rumors reached Aiko's ears. She refused to believe that her mother could have been unfaithful. She rushed home immediately, but as she entered, she found her mother on the verge of suicide. In that instant, Aiko understood that someone must be framing her mother, trying to tear her family apart. When her father returned home, instead of being understanding, he even physically assaulted her mother. At that moment, Aiko's once warm home had turned into a living hell. Determined to seek justice, at the stroke of midnight, Aiko logged onto the Hell Correspondence website. Legend has it that this website can only be accessed at midnight. If someone enters the name of a person they detest on this website, Hell Girl Enma will appear and give them a straw doll. If the person unties the red string on the straw doll, Enma will send the target individual to hell. However, the cost of using this service is that the requester will also be sent to hell after their death. Aiko was initially skeptical but decided to try it anyway. To her surprise, the emissary from hell, Enma, truly appeared. Enma handed Aiko a straw doll and told her that if she agreed to the service, she should break the red string on the doll. The price for this service was that Aiko would also descend into hell after her death. Through her supernatural abilities, Enma showed Aiko the truth of everything that had happened. At that moment, Aiko finally understood the pain her mother had been silently enduring. Without hesitation, she made a soul contract with Enma. Aiko decided that even at the cost of her own soul, she would make the wrongdoers pay a heavy price. Enma then changed into her work attire and began her task. Enma's subordinate, Ikimoku, who happened to be strikingly handsome, was sent to seduce Rika. Rika quickly fell into the trap set by Ikimoku. Now, Rika was experiencing the pain that Yasuda had endured, magnified many times over. Finally, Rika completely broke down amidst endless verbal abuse. At that moment, everyone around her suddenly disappeared. It turned out that all of this was an illusion set up by Enma. Enma then chanted an incantation. The malicious woman was finally taken to the river Styx. What awaited her was endless torment and suffering. Everything was over. Aiko saw the smile return to her mother's face. Her family had returned to its former warmth, but only Aiko knew that she would go to hell after her death. Yet, the thought of having protected her mother made it all worth it. At the stroke of midnight, if you enter the name of someone you despise, on a website called Hell Correspondence, Hell Girl Enma will appear and cast your hated target into the abyss of hell. This is an urban legend whispered among children. Mayumi was the class representative. Her classmates entrusted her with the funds they had collected for a charity drive. Thrilled by their trust, she vowed to handle it responsibly, but then she accidentally lost the envelope containing the money. To cover her mistake, she borrowed money from Sakura, a classmate who had always bullied her. This marked the beginning of her nightmare. Sakura imposed exorbitant interest on the debt. To repay it, Mayumi began stealing money from her own family, yet Sakura only escalated her cruelty, treating Mayumi like a slave, hurling insults and physical abuse. Mayumi never fought back, only muttering endless apologies. One day, Mayumi overheard classmates talking about the Hell Girl legend. That night, at midnight, she logged into Hell correspondence, but hesitated to press send. In the days that followed, Sakura became even more relentless in bullying her. Finally, Mayumi made up her mind. She logged onto the Hell correspondence website and filled in Sakura's name. She then decisively pressed the send button. Her phone quickly received a text message from the Hell Girl, but Enma did not appear. The following days brought even worse torment. Sakura dragged Mayumi to the red light district, took compromising photos, and blackmailed her. Finally, broken beyond endurance, Mayumi climbed to the rooftop of a high-rise and prepared to jump. Just then, Hell Girl Enma appeared. She transported Mayumi to a large tree, offering to erase her hatred. Enma handed her a straw doll, explaining that tearing its red string would forge a soul contract. As the condition for sending Sakura to Hell, Mayumi's soul will endure eternal torment in Hell after her death. The cost was too great. Mayumi couldn't bring herself to pull the string, but what Mayumi couldn't have imagined was that Sakura actually uploaded her photo onto the website. Mayumi became the school's scandalous gossip. Even her teachers confronted her. Hatred burned in Mayumi's eyes. With trembling hands, she tore the red string. Enma donned her work uniform and began her task. Meanwhile, Sakura plotted new ways to torment Mayumi. She lured Mayumi to the school at night, but Mayumi fled. When Sakura entered the classroom, she found students and teachers holding a midnight class. Terrified, Sakura ran outside, only to find daylight suddenly blazing. A volleyball in the courtyard morphed into a human skull. Screaming, Sakura bolted back inside, where three figures blocked her path. At this moment, Sakura felt that everything that had just happened was a prank by these three people. She thought Mayumi had brought them to retaliate against her, but she had no idea that these individuals were not human at all. Until Enma materialized behind her. Chanting a spell, Sakura collapsed. When she awoke, she was adrift on the river Styx, condemned to endless agony. A mark appeared on Mayumi's chest, proof that her soul, too, would fall to Hell. This time, the one seeking Hell Girl's help was a girl named Ryoko. She constantly felt like she was being watched by a mysterious stalker who seemed invisible yet omnipresent. No matter what she did, the stalker knew every detail. Ryoko lived in perpetual terror. What horrified her most was the stalker's daily phone calls. She changed her number multiple times, but the stalker always found her new number. Even the birthday gifts he left were grotesque. Ryoko reported it to the police repeatedly, but they could never identify the culprit. In desperation, she logged onto Hell correspondence and summoned Enma. Meanwhile, Ryoko's father visited the police station again, pleading with Officer Kisaragi for help. Kisaragi admitted the case was highly sensitive. Their investigation suggested the stalker was within the police force. This severely limited their actions. They had narrowed the suspect to Akimoto, but lacked concrete evidence. Kisaragi urged Ryoko's father to wait patiently, yet the stalker's harassment grew worse. Just then, Enma appeared, pulling Ryoko into an otherworldly dimension. She handed her a straw doll, warning her of the grave cost of the soul contract. The price was too steep. Ryoko decided to wait, but unexpectedly, something quickly happened. Ryoko's father unexpectedly discovered Akimoto's body, and he was also attacked. It turns out he was deceived by Officer Kisaragi, and Kisaragi is the mysterious person who has been harassing Ryoko all along. Kisaragi, exploiting his police authority, lured Ryoko to a remote warehouse. By the time she realized the trap, it was too late. At a critical moment, Ryoko tore off the red thread from the straw doll, just as the soul contract was about to be sealed. Enma's subordinate Ikimoku suddenly appeared and drove away Kisaragi, but Ryoko also gained a mark on her chest. Ikimoku told her, this is the price she paid for selling her soul. Meanwhile, Enma, freshly bathed and clad in her work attire, prepared Kisaragi's judgment. Kisaragi fled to the hospital where Ryoko's father lay recovering. Unbeknownst to him, the entire building was under Enma's control. Hallucinations of horrors engulfed him. He staggered into Ryoko's father's room, grabbed a fruit knife, and lunged at Ryoko, only for her to morph into a grinning skull. Within minutes, Kisaragi shattered. He scrambled to escape, but Enma stood before him, chanting her curse. Kisaragi blacked out. When he awoke, he was adrift on the river Styx, where hell's punishments awaited. Afterward, Ryoko returned to a normal life. Whether the cost was worth it, only she would ever know. Matojo is the most famous veterinarian in the area. On this day, a girl named Junko brought her pet dog of 10 years to him for treatment. Unfortunately, the dog's illness was too severe, and it soon passed away in pain on the operating table. This left Junko devastated because the dog had been her companion for a decade, almost like family to her. Despite the heartbreaking reality, Junko had to come to terms with the loss. However, a few days later, Matojo's assistant Mio found Junko and revealed a shocking truth. Matojo, as it turned out, was a person with a human face but a heart of a beast. He only served the wealthy and powerful with pets, disregarding those from ordinary families as worthless. Countless pets had perished under his care, but his reputation remained untarnished as people never questioned him. But Meow, as Matojo's assistant, just couldn't bear to watch, because just 2 days ago, a little dog with a broken leg bone was brought to Matojo's pet hospital, needing urgent surgical treatment. But Matojo actually went on a date and ended up missing the best treatment window, resulting in the little dog losing a leg entirely. And Junko's little dog was also delayed by Matojo, missing the optimal treatment time, because at that moment, he took a phone call and then went to play golf with the mayor, ultimately leading to Junko's little dog painfully dying on the operating table. Junko waited outside for 2 hours, but her little dog didn't receive any treatment, only receiving a kind injection of pain relief from Meow. Upon hearing the truth, Junko completely broke down. She wanted Matojo to receive the punishment he deserved, but she had no evidence to report him. She then placed her hopes on the folk legend known as Hell Girl. At midnight, Junko logged onto the Hell Correspondence website. To her surprise, Enma actually appeared before her. Enma handed her a straw doll and told her she could send Matojo straight to hell, but the cost would be Junko's soul falling into hell after her death. Enduring endless suffering, this price was too steep. Junko decided to rely on her own strength to ensure Matojo faced the punishment he deserved. So, she asked Mio to help gather evidence of Matojo's crimes. Unfortunately, Matojo happened to discover them. Matojo told Junko that these pets were just tools for making money. Whoever paid him more would receive priority service, but for the owners of these pets, they were like family. Matojo's attitude made Junko very angry, but she was powerless against him. Matojo kicked them out, resulting in Mio losing her job. The more Junko thought about it, the angrier she became. So she made a firm decision to ensure Matojo faced judgment from hell. Junko snapped the red thread on the straw doll. As the red thread broke, Junko also entered into a soul contract with hell. Meanwhile, on his way home by car, Matojo got into an accident. His thigh was crushed, and all of this was the work of endless subordinates who wanted Matojo to experience the feeling of being severely injured and untreated. However, Matojo remained unrepentant. For this reason, Enma decided to drag him into hell. After all, a person as inhumane as Matojo was more suited to hell. As Enma chanted the spell, Matojo soon lost consciousness, and when he woke up again, he found himself in the river Styx. Then those little dogs that he had caused to die climbed up from the river Styx. Matojo finally received the punishment he deserved, but all of this was his own fault. He was being dragged into hell, enduring endless pain and torment.